that need to be explored in this case. So the Constitutional Court 2014 rendered the tender process invalid, and therefore CPS should not have been appointed as the distributor. The Department of Social Development and its agency SASSA then in theory should have found a new distributor by then. So fast forward to yesterday, we still haven't got a new distributor from the 1st of April. And we were hearing that the department wanted to go to the Constitutional Court for some relief. What might they have asked for?
Well, as I understand it, they were going to ask the court to allow them to extend their contract with CPS for another year or another 2 years, in any event, to extend the illegal, unconstitutional contract which the Constitutional Court had kept alive only in order to save the recipients, the beneficiaries of these funds. If the court had merely said, well, the contract's illegal, stop, millions, 17 million South Africans would have paid the price. So the court said, you can carry on in the meantime, but meanwhile clean up your show, get ready, get new invitations to tender, have a new legitimate tender process, and allocate the contract afresh and legitimately. The SASSA then said some time ago, 18 months or so ago, to the court, don't worry, we don't have to go to tender again, we're going to do it in-house. We know, we've checked, and we're going to do this in-house. They did neither contract with somebody else, nor invite tenders, nor get ready to do it. Now, a month before the expiry of the court-sanctioned period, they were going to run to court and say, oi, give me more time. I don't blame them for being a little bit scared of going to court.
What would have been the attitude of the court? Because they're actually caught between a rock and a hard place, and they've been put there by SASSA. 17 million people who are innocent parties in this whole debacle are at risk.
Certainly. From my point of view, as a lawyer, the most serious point at issue here is that this has been, in effect, a circumvention of a court order, an order of the highest court in the land in a matter of great public moment. The people who were supposed to have complied with that order simply didn't do so, and they were going to go back to court and say, so, now what are you going to ask me to do? I do believe that it is a serious, very, very serious infraction of the rule of law when a government agency can in effect say to the highest court in the land, I do not obey your orders. I will just drag my feet, and I will come along when I can confront you with the crisis and say, give me an extension.
Should there be sanction then for the Department of Social Services?
Of course there should be sanction. There should long since have been a very firm political sanction. There should have been very firm control by the executive over its agencies. It should not be the court's job to clean up this kind of exercise. This was the minister's task. This was the departmental heads in the department's task. They just didn't do it. That's the problem.
With 4 weeks to go, what legal options does the department have?
I don't know how many options they have got. They have opted now, they say, to negotiate a new contract with the same contractor for the same services for another period of time. That, they say, is not an extension of the contract.
But
that's a new contract. That seems to me a highly arguable proposition in logic and in law. The contention being, we don't have to go to tender because this is a crisis. We fall under that special dispensation in the Public Finance Management Act, which allows you in a critical situation to short-circuit the process and contract quickly with somebody to block, to plug a hole before you get flooded. But you can't do that if you dug the hole yourself and left it there knowing that the tide was
and
rising.
the ruling was actually 2014, which is almost 3 years ago.
Ages ago. And then you had said, don't worry, court, I'm ready. I'm going to do this myself. I don't have to go through the whole tender process.
Is it possible for the Department of Social Services to say we're doing it ourselves, but hire an agent to do it for themselves, even if it's them, so that there is no public contract, if there is such a thing? Is there a way of circumventing that contractual?
I don't see it, and I don't think that there exists one. An agent to do it for you, yes, that's what they did last time. But then you've got to go, in terms of our constitution and our legislative framework, if you want to spend sums of money, public money, in order to obtain goods or services, there are certain ways in which you do it. You give the public at large an opportunity to contract with you. You invite tenders. You do a proper survey.
We're emergency service levels now, so I'm still trying to get behind the law a little bit. Can I, as Department of Social Services, hire Judge Kriegler? The contract is between you and me. Judge Kriegler then goes and contracts CPS separately.
I'm reluctant to give a legal opinion on an issue that may well go to court. I would say it seems to me doubtful. It seems to me that you're merely doing that which you can't do by disguising it rather feebly in a different way. But that's a law point that may go to court, and I would prefer not to go there.
Could the beneficiaries do a class action against the minister in an instance like this if they don't get paid on the first?
I don't think that there's a real risk that they're not going to get paid. I think the Deputy President was perfectly sound, and he knew what he was saying, and I think there's no chance that they're not going to get paid. But how legal it's going to be and what fallout there is for the rule of law and the respect for the courts and their orders is a different matter. The people, I think, are going to get paid.
But there might be some legal manoeuvring in the process.
Oh, certainly there's got to be.
Okay, Judge, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for your insights this evening.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Okay, so, Francis?
Let's look at some other news. Of course, that SASSA crisis dominating, but a row also brewing between